What's going on, everybody? I'm Jack. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we've got 3 breakfast casseroles for you guys. Meal prepping, easy breakfast, on the go, high protein, of course. First, I'm gonna start off with a classic hash brown, sausage, and egg casserole. Super basic, and my favorite part about this whole thing is the ingredients you buy, you use them all up, so there's not gonna have any leftovers. So first off, we've got a 30-ounce bag of hash browns. Get those to room temperature before you start to make this. We also have 1 pepper. We have 2 pounds of pork sausage. If you want to go a little bit leaner, you can use 2 pounds of any ground meat. We also have some cheese. This is not reduced fat or fat-free, but you could also use that, once again, to remove some calories. And then we have eggs. We're using 8 eggs, as well as some almond milk, 2 cups of almond milk. And we also have some seasonings over here. These are not essential, but you can definitely use them. Paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and we'll need some salt and pepper as well. It's pretty basic. We need to cook our pork sausage over on the stovetop. We need to cut up our pepper, and then everything else is kind of just assembly. We need to crack some eggs, do that kind of stuff. But first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and cook up our pork sausage, cut up our pepper. I'll see you guys in a second. One more quick thing as far as another option for the pork sausage. This is from Kroger, so it's pretty cheap. They also do have a hot pork sausage. You want a little bit of a spicier casserole. I am not a huge fan of spice, as hopefully some of you guys know by now, so I went the mild. They do have a hot, so get that if you want a little bit more spice and kick to your casserole. Now we've got our pepper cut up as well as our pork sausage cooked. Another thing, someone asked in a recent video the dimensions of one of my baking dishes or whatever kitchen tools. So I got a ruler out. I'm gonna measure this. This looks to be about 12 inches by like 8.5. So for whoever wants to know that, that's the dimensions. Say a foot by 8.5, something like that. And this barely fits it, so you have a bigger one, even better. But first thing we need to do is go ahead and start the assembly process. So we're gonna take our hash browns, lay those down, boom, boom, boom. Once again, 30 ounces of hash browns. We can go ahead and spread that out a little bit. Cool. And then we'll go ahead, and I'm gonna go with my peppers first. We're actually gonna mix it all up, so not a huge deal what we add first, but let's go ahead and add the peppers. And then we'll have our sausage in there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and actually add half of our cheese. So this entire pack is 2 cups, and that's how much cheese we want. So we're gonna add 1/2 now, or 1 cup, and we'll add the next half once everything else is done. That's about half, something like that. And now we're actually gonna go ahead and mix this up before we add our egg wash. Last time I made this, I didn't do this, and I think it just adds a little bit, so every bite of the casserole is kind of mixed up. I'm gonna do my best here, so yeah, be patient with me, because if I mix it up too much, it's just gonna spill everywhere. All right, I'd say that's pretty decently mixed up. Oh, also, one thing I forgot to mention earlier, set your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That should be the first thing you do, so it's all warmed up and ready for your casserole when you're done. But that looks pretty good to me. Next thing we need to do is go ahead and crack 8 eggs into this bowl, as well as add 2 cups of almond milk. Also, if anybody knows how to crack an egg with one hand, please teach me. I think that'd be like the coolest thing to do. But right now when I try it, I just end up crushing the eggs. So if anybody has any tips for breaking eggs with one hand, yeah, leave them down in the comments below. Then we'll add our seasonings to our egg wash now. Like I said, a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of paprika, and then salt and pepper. Now we got our egg wash. Now we're gonna do our best to kind of spread that out throughout the casserole, but it'll all kind of seep in a little bit. Don't spill it. Definitely done better. We had a little bit of spillage over there. The last thing we need to do is just add our cheese all across. We have about a cup left. Go ahead and give that a nice coating on top. And boom, just like that, we have our egg casserole ready to go in the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 35 to 40 minutes. Keep an eye on it, but at this point we just need to heat up the hash browns, cook the eggs, and we got our casserole. And just like that, 40 minutes later at 350 degrees, we have our casserole done. Now the biggest thing here is to let this sit. It's gonna continue to kind of cook and thicken up as it cools off. Don't throw it right into the fridge or freezer. Let it cool off at room temperature, and what I'm gonna do is eat this pretty much over the next 6 days or so. and then I'm just gonna eyeball it, just cut it into 6, whatever it is, keep it in the fridge, that kind of thing. If you do want to eat it later or eat it over a longer period of time, I'd recommend cutting it up, freezing half of it, and then just keeping the other half in the fridge to eat a little bit sooner. But yeah, this will be probably my breakfast the next 6 days. So overall, this entire recipe comes out to be 4,172 calories. That is 202 grams of carbs. Oh my goodness. Oh, wait, Maisie wants to come in. Sorry about that. So the macros for the entire casserole, 4,172 calories, 202 grams of carbs, 252 grams of fat, and 263 grams of protein. And then, like I said, I'll probably be split up into 6 different servings. So for 6 servings is 693 calories per serving, 33 grams of carbs, 42 grams of fat, and 44 grams of protein. Yes, it's a little bit higher in the fat range, but I'm on a bulk, so I need the calories. And like I said before, if you want to cut down a little bit, you can use fat-free cheese. You can use, instead of pork sausage, use a leaner meat like a lean beef or lean chicken. Even turkey works. And then outside of that, if you want to use a little bit of egg whites instead of whole eggs, there's a lot of change-ups you can have, but I like a fatter breakfast in the morning. It keeps me satisfied a lot longer. But yeah, that is breakfast casserole number 1. And don't just eat at breakfast. You could eat this at dinner if you really want to. But let's head to breakfast casserole number 2. We're starting off with one of my favorite recipes is my French toast bake casserole type thing, but a giant version of it, or a meal prep version, because a lot of times people just tell me, I want to try it, but it does take 30 or 40 minutes in the morning. So I say, it can be eaten any time of day, but also this is a great way to meal prep it and have it throughout the week. So we're gonna just cook it once and you'll have it for the rest of the week. First thing, set your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll go over the ingredients real quick. So we need an entire loaf of our Sara Lee. This is Sara Lee white made with whole grain bread. You guys can see that. Really, any bread works. This is 70 calories a slice, I believe. Yeah, 70 calories a slice. So you could find something a little bit lower or higher calorie if you want to change that up. We're using 1 whole loaf, which is 570 grams. Next, we'll also be using 1 whole carton or a dozen eggs. You could substitute more egg whites in for eggs. It'll make it low calorie, but I like a dozen eggs. It gives a lot more flavor. Then we'll also be using half a carton or 460 grams of egg whites. These happen to be egg beaters, as you can see right there, but they're pretty much the exact same thing as egg whites macro-wise. These just taste a little better and they're yellow. So if for whatever reason you don't like the white of egg whites, yeah, these are yellow, but they're almost the exact same macros. We're also gonna be using 1 scoop of our protein powder. This is a whey protein concentrate from Transparent Labs. It is 130 calories per scoop and 24 grams of protein, so you can use really any protein powder you have on hand. We're also using some flavor enhancers. We also have our vanilla extract right here. We're using 2 tablespoons of that. We have some cinnamon. It probably comes out to be about a tablespoon, but I pretty much eyeball it and just shake it out on top. Some salt for some flavor enhancers. And then we'll also have some of the sugar-free syrup right here. This is just some Kroger. Hopefully you guys can see that. Boom. Very basic, but 8 tablespoons of this is 4 servings, so we need to add that in. As well as our blueberries. This is where you can add as much as you want. I'm gonna be using 175 grams. So first thing we need to do is go ahead, we're gonna tear up our bread into about probably quarters to a half slices and spread it out in this tin. And then we'll go ahead and add all of our wet ingredients and our protein powder into a bowl, mix that all up, and then pour that mixture over the bread. I need to get a bowl real quick, a whisk, and let's get baking. Now we've got our bread in our tin right there, and we have our egg wash mixture, syrup, protein, batter thing. And we're gonna pour it all over. Then we're gonna go ahead and mix it up quite a bit, make sure the eggs get soaked into the bread and that's evenly distributed, and then it'll go in the oven. I almost forgot, we need to add the blueberries on top. Use as much as you want, or any fruit. I'm gonna use 175 grams of blueberries. Well, now we got blueberries stuck in the whisk. Oh, there we go. And of course, with blueberries, Maisie always gets a little bit, so let's see if she can catch one. All right, ready? Yeah, good girl. Now our French toast bake is gonna go in the oven, 450 degrees, as I mentioned before, for 30 to 35 minutes. go ahead and check it. It should get nice and crispy on the top, like a little thin golden brown layer on the bread and eggs. But yeah, until then, we'll see this in 30 to 35 minutes. And 30 minutes later, we have our French toast casserole done right here. Definitely let it cool off before you eat it, or if you want to put it in the fridge for later like I'm going to do. Let it cool to at least room temperature for probably 25, 30 minutes, and then you can go ahead and put it away. You can also cut it up and actually freeze some pieces for later on. But real quick, I'll go over the macros for the entire thing, as well as what I'm gonna be considering one serving, which would be 1/6. I'm gonna cut it up into 6 different pieces. So for the entire thing, it is 2,500 calories, 305 grams of carbs, 66 grams of fat, and 197 grams of protein. And then, like I said, you can cut it into fourths, you could cut it into eighths, you can cut it into whatever portion size you want. But I'm gonna do 6, and then that comes out to be 415 calories per serving, 51 grams of carbs, 11 grams of fat, and 33 grams of protein. That is just as is. My recommendation is to add some toppings. So there are 2 toppings I personally have been using a lot. One is a little bit of melted peanut butter, because the fat is so low, you can get away with adding a little bit more calories. So cut up a portion of this, microwave it, or however you want to reheat it in an oven, whatever it is, and then take a little bit, like a tablespoon or 2 of peanut butter, melt that in the microwave, and then drizzle it on top. It ends up being like a really good PB&J, because you have your bread, eggs, obviously made it like a French toast, you have your blueberries, and then a little bit of peanut butter. So good. I also love adding Greek yogurt on top for a little bit more protein. Also have a little bit more sweetness on there. But yeah, you can even just add syrup or eat it as is. So that is casserole number 2 right there, our blueberry French toast casserole. Now we'll move on to the next breakfast casserole. Alrighty, we are on to our 3rd breakfast casserole recipe. One of my favorite things is oatmeal with a little bit of strawberries, bananas, and some honey on top. So I decided, why not go ahead and meal prep that? So I went ahead and turned that into a baked oats casserole. So we'll go over the ingredients real quick. First thing off, we have 240 grams of our old-fashioned oats. Then we're using 2 scoops of protein powder. This is just a whey concentrate. This is the French vanilla flavor from Transparent Labs. We're also gonna have a brown sugar substitute. This is Swerve. You could use actual brown sugar, but it's gonna have a little bit more calories and actual sugar in the final product. We're also using 2 cups, or about 480 grams of milk. We're gonna use 150 grams of our egg beaters. Then we're gonna have 400 grams of strawberries that we need to go ahead and cut up. We're using 2 tablespoons or 42 grams of honey. We're gonna have 1 tablespoon or about 5 grams of vanilla extract. We're gonna have 3 bananas, and then we're also gonna have 5 grams of baking powder. So first thing we need to do is go ahead and assemble our dry ingredients in this bowl. We're gonna have our oats, our baking powder, protein powder, and our sugar. Once that's kind of all combined, then we'll go ahead and add our wet ingredients, our honey, egg beaters, which are just like egg whites as far as calories go, and then as well as our almond milk. Once all that's mixed up, that's pretty much what's gonna go into this tray. And then we're also gonna add some strawberries and bananas into that mixture as well as on top. So we need it to look really nice. So we'll probably take 2 bananas, mash those up, add them to the mixture, add maybe 200 grams of our strawberries into the mixture, and then top the actual baked oats with strawberries and bananas to make it look really nice. Without further ado, let's put this casserole together. Now we have all the ingredients except for the bananas and strawberries. We'll go ahead and let this sit for a little bit while we get the fruit together. So like I said, you have a little bit of options right now. You can either mash some bananas and add it into the actual mix, or you can leave them all as toppings. I'm gonna take 2 bananas. I wish they were a little bit more ripe, but what we can do is actually peel these, throw them in the microwave, soften them up, and then they'll be easier to break up and mash. Then we'll add those in here. And then we'll also take about half our strawberries, 400 grams, so we'll take 200 grams, add it into the mixture, and we'll have another 201 banana sliced up to add on top. I want to create some sort of like cool design on top. That is still yet to be determined, but we're gonna microwave these, get these mashed, get those in, cut up our strawberries, get some of the strawberries into the mixture, and then I'll check with you guys. Also, 30 seconds for nuking the bananas in the microwave. Also, before we get too far into cooking, make sure your oven's preheated at 350 degrees. All right, now we have all of our fruit cut up. We have it all measured out. Oops. So what we're gonna do, go ahead, take about, I think this is 8 by 13. This is the same one we used for the breakfast casserole. So I think it is 8 by 13. We're gonna spray it with some nonstick. just to help it not stick. Then we'll go ahead, pour in our base mixture with all the fruit in there combined. Go ahead and just, pour it right in there. Make sure you get every last little bit because we're counting every last macro. And what we can do, go ahead and spread that out. Make sure it's an even coating. We don't want like all liquid in one part and no oats in another. So go ahead and spread that out. And now is where my creative side gets to shine. I am not creative, that was kind of a joke. So we're gonna see what kind of artwork we can make in here. I'm thinking put like a banana in the middle and then strawberries around it, creating like a flower or rose type pattern. So we're gonna try that a few times, see if it works. And then worst case, it's an absolute disaster, but it tastes really good. Okay, I have no idea how that worked out, but I almost had the exact number of bananas and strawberry slices for the design I have. I don't want to mess it up or tilt it, so I'm gonna go ahead and take you guys off the tripod and go ahead and show you guys. Boom, so that is what our final design is looking like. Fingers crossed it comes out like that once it's done baking, but I decided to go with a banana in the middle surrounded by 4 strawberry slices, so I did that all the way across. I had some extra, so I threw like a banana, 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 some strawberries in the middle, and then some strawberries along the outside as well as some bananas along the outside. So fingers crossed once again that it comes out just like this. And now we're gonna take this absolute masterpiece, throw it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. And just like that, our casserole is done. About 40 minutes later, also we had a wardrobe change because instead of going straight to the gym, I'm gonna go hit golf balls, then to the gym, but that's beside the point. We'll go over the macros real quick for the whole casserole, and just like all the other casseroles, I'm gonna be splitting this into 6 different servings. So for the entire casserole, it comes out to be 1,870 calories. That is 315 grams of carbs, 27 grams of fat, and 102 grams of protein. And then as far as one individual serving or 1/6 of the whole casserole, comes out to be 310 calories, 52 grams of carbs, only 5 grams of fat, and 17 grams of protein. This is a great higher carb breakfast. We had a little bit of a higher fat casserole in the traditional breakfast, like the sausage, egg, cheese, and hash brown. And then we had kind of like a middle ground, still a little bit low fat in the French toast casserole. And this might even be lower fat, and only 5 grams per serving. And then still about 17 grams of protein, and then mostly carbs. This would be a great pre-workout meal for me because I like to have a lot of carbs before I go and train. So 1/6 of this, I can go ahead and cut it up. Make sure you cut up 1 whole flour. And that's actually, wow, I just realized that without even intending to do it. It's pretty much like 1 flour is 1/6. So cut up your flour, put it on a plate. When you want to reheat it, I would say keep this in the fridge. If you want to store it for longer, cut it up, put it in the freezer. But I'll leave this in the fridge, have a serving a day for the next 6 days, and that's gonna be a pre-workout meal for the next couple days, which is awesome. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know if you guys have any other recipes you guys want me to make as far as like a breakfast casserole, maybe not so much fruit and strawberries, but maybe I do, I'm trying to think, like a baked oats that might be a little more sweet, some like chocolate, maybe banana chocolate chip, or what else can I do? Like a carrot cake, something like that. I don't know, but that is 3 breakfast casseroles for you guys. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.